The Magical World and the Rules of Time Travel. The story of New Saga takes place in a classic fantasy continent called Loindars. For hundreds of years, this world maintained a very fragile peace. On one side of the map, you have the human folk, which includes regular humans, highly magical elves, and hard-working dwarves. On the other side, you have the demon folk, a race of creatures who are naturally much stronger, faster, and more magically gifted than any human could ever hope to be. For generations, an old, reasonable demon king kept the peace by signing diplomatic treaties. But everything falls apart when a new, brutal demon ruler takes the throne by force and decides it is time to completely wipe humanity off the face of the earth. The magic system in this universe is deeply practical and physically demanding. Warriors do not just wave wands or recite long chants from old books. Instead, they use a specific mix of physical conditioning and elemental swordplay. Mages and swordsmen use special magical items like gravity rings and highly advanced weighted training gear. These items force a warrior's body to move under extreme physical resistance. By fighting against this artificial weight every single day, a fighter's internal energy pathways are forced to expand, allowing them to store and process massive amounts of magical power much faster than normal.
The absolute core mechanism of the entire plot relies on a legendary crimson artifact known as the Divine Dragon Heart. At the very end of a catastrophic global war, the main character activates this glowing gem as he lies dying on a battlefield. Crucially, this artifact does not just rewind the universe like a simple video game reset. Instead, it enforces a very strict permanent rule. It physically merges the veteran soul of a dying middle-aged warrior into his 17-year-old childhood body 4 years before the demon invasion even begins. This means the hero keeps all of his future memories, his perfected fighting techniques, and his massive magical capacity, but he is forced to live inside a weak teenage anatomy that is physically unready to handle that level of power. The hero's burden and the ghosts of the future. At the absolute centre of this temporal experiment is the protagonist, Kyle Leonard. Kyle is a hero who carries a truly horrifying psychological burden. In his original life, he actually won the war. He led a final suicidal assault on the Demon King's floating fortress and managed to kill the villain in a brutal sword fight. But this technical victory brought him absolutely no emotional peace or salvation.
By the time he successfully stabbed the Demon King, every single one of his family members, his childhood neighbours, his loyal battle companions, and his elven girlfriend had already been slaughtered. He was quite literally the last living human standing on a burning, ruined planet. When the Divine Dragon Heart suddenly wakes him up as a 17-year-old boy in his peaceful, sunny hometown, he does not feel happy or relieved. Instead, he experiences an overwhelming sense of panic, pressure, and isolation. Kyle is essentially a war veteran suffering from extreme, hidden post-traumatic stress, but he is forced to hide his inner darkness behind the smiling face of an energetic teenager. He looks at his sweet childhood friend Lise and his lazy buddy Seren and realises they are completely innocent, having absolutely no idea that they are supposed to die horrible deaths in a few short years. Kyle's exact overarching goal throughout the story is the systematic reconstruction of the entire world's defence network. He is on a desperate, frantic mission to alter historical events, stop political assassinations, and force rival kingdoms to unite before the demons march across the border. This mission leaves him completely alone in his own mind.
He cannot tell his parents or his friends the truth about his time travel because they would either think he had lost his mind or treat him like a strange, terrifying outsider. He is forced to carry the weight of a dying world completely by himself, treating every casual conversation with his loved ones as a high-stakes tactical exercise to keep them alive. The friends, the companions, and the performance of youth. To make his grand defence plan work, Kyle is forced to reassemble his old battle party, but he has to do it years before they originally met. This introduces a fascinating layer of emotional tension and manipulation to the story. His best friend, Saran, is a highly talented but incredibly lazy swordsman who loves to chase girls, drink at local taverns, and avoid hard work. In the future timeline, Saran transformed into a legendary, serious warrior who eventually sacrificed his life to buy Kyle enough time to reach the Demon King. Now, Kyle has to look at this goofy, unmotivated teenager and figure out exactly how to trick and push him into training like a maniac without breaking his fun-loving spirit. Then there is Urza, the brilliant elven maid who was the absolute love of Kyle's life in the original future.
When Kyle travels to the elven forests to find her in this new past, she has absolutely no idea who he is. To her, Kyle is just a random, slightly suspicious human swordsman who crossed into her territory, while to him, she is the woman he watched die in a pool of blood. He knows her favourite foods, her deepest fears, her magical habits, and her secret dreams, but he has to actively suppress his romantic feelings and pretend to be a complete stranger so he does not frighten or alienate her. Every single interaction with his companions becomes a painful performance, turning simple dinners and shared campfires into stressful moments where Kyle must carefully monitor his own facial expressions and words. The villains and the cold logic of the demon invasion. The primary adversarial framework of the story is spearheaded by the ruthless successor Demon King and his elite squad of generals, such as the master manipulator Garnius. After overthrowing the previous peaceful demon government in a violent coup, this new demonic monarch is driven by a radical imperialistic philosophy. He firmly believes that the human folk are weak, structurally flawed, and a complete waste of the world's natural resources.
His ultimate objective is to launch a sudden, massive continent-wide invasion to completely erase humanity and use ancient magical technology to harvest their souls, fusing that life force into the demon race to trigger a forced evolutionary upgrade. This villainous ideology stands as a dark, cold mirror to Kyle's own behaviour. Both Kyle and the Demon King are using a form of ruthless mathematical logic to achieve their goals. The Demon King looks at entire human cities as mere raw material to be harvested for his race's advancement. Meanwhile, Kyle is forced by the horror of his memories to look at kingdoms, noble families, and even his own friends as mere chess pieces that must be perfectly moved across a board to secure a military victory. The smaller secondary villains in the story, such as corrupt human lords and treasonous military mentors like Zentos, amplify this danger. These selfish human antagonists do not care about the global apocalypse. They only care about securing immediate wealth, staging political coups, and protecting their own crowns, proving that human greed and cowardice can be just as destructive as an army of demons. Politics, nobles, and the internal decay of human kingdoms. One of the most brilliant aspects of the story's architecture is that the biggest obstacle Kyle faces isn't the monster army waiting across the border, but the absolute decay inside the human nations themselves.
The continent of Loyenders is deeply fractured by political backstabbing, royal greed, and deep-seated racism between humans and elves. For example, within the powerful Zergus kingdom, the ruling monarch is so incredibly obsessed with maintaining his absolute grip on the throne that he actively hires underground assassins to murder his own daughter, Princess Melina, just to prevent her from passing laws that would limit the power of the nobility. This broken socio-political infrastructure is what drives the plot forward in the early stages of the story. Kyle cannot simply march over to the demon lands and fight the enemy generals. He is forced to become a master politician and an undercover operative. He is dragged into the slimy world of noble courts, forced to expose secret plots, save targeted princesses from public executions, and stabilize collapsing governments. The narrative demonstrates that humanity's internal fighting is the exact vulnerability that the demon generals plan to exploit. If Kyle cannot use his future knowledge to force these selfish human kings to stop killing each other and start working together, the demon army will easily conquer the continent without even trying. Faction, primary vulnerability, Kyle's tactical intervention, Zergus Kingdom, internal assassinations and royal succession wars, rescuing Princess Melina to stabilize the throne, Elven Forest, isolationism and deep distrust of the human race, using future knowledge to build early diplomatic trust, human nobility, bribery, hoarding resources and secret treason, undercover espionage, blackmail and targeted takedowns.
Pacing and the inverted countdown to doomsday. The structural progression of the narrative relies on an inverted countdown model that slowly and systematically changes the speed and tone of the show. At the very beginning, the story moves at a relatively fun, familiar pace that feels like a standard fantasy adventure. We watch Kyle winning local martial arts duels, travelling down sunny countryside roads, earning money as an adventurer, and joking around with his childhood friends. This early stability is a deliberate storytelling illusion designed to make the audience feel safe, happy, and comfortable with the characters' daily routines. However, as the calendar slowly ticks closer to the exact historical date of the original demon invasion, the pacing starts to compress and accelerate. What originally seemed like random isolated problems, such as local slave trading rings, corrupt merchants hoarding weapons, or unusual monster stampedes in the woods, suddenly start to connect into a massive, terrifying pattern. Kyle realises that because his time travel actions have altered minor historical events, the demon generals have become paranoid and are starting their covert infiltration much earlier than before. The story quickly shifts gears, transforming from a fun fantasy journey into a high-stakes, claustrophobic political thriller where one single miscalculation or one unpreventable royal murder will instantly trigger the doomsday timeline Kyle sacrificed his first life to escape.
Camera framing, shadows, and visual storytelling. From a visual standpoint, the direction uses a very smart, intentional arrangement of camera angles in framing to constantly illustrate Kyle's split psychological nature. During the high-speed action scenes, the animation style focuses heavily on tactical geometry and physical distance. The camera shows Kyle using his future mastery of speed magic and weighted swordsmanship to dance circles around his opponents, making his physical movements look frighteningly cold, efficient and lethal compared to the clumsy, predictable techniques of the teenagers surrounding him. The director frequently relies on low camera angles and heavy, dark shadows to cover Kyle's facial features during quiet domestic scenes. When Kyle is forced to make a ruthless utilitarian choice, such as letting a corrupt noble get assassinated because it benefits the Global Alliance, or lying straight to his mother's face to keep his mission secret, the camera hides his eyes in complete darkness. This visual choice physically partitions him from the bright, innocent world of his companions. Wide panoramic shots of massive imperial ruins and cold, empty landscapes are also used to emphasize his profound mental isolation, making him look like a tiny, lonely figure carrying the weight of an entire dead future on his shoulders.
The soundscape, gravity rings, and crucial silence. The auditory landscape works in perfect harmony with the visual style to ensure that the stakes of the story always feel incredibly heavy, serious, and real.